This edition of Eye on the Bay is sponsored by Travel Alberta.
By the end of the day, I'll be at the top of that, with nothing between me and the ground but a thin sheet of plexiglass. And I'll be riding this Olympic wire down at speeds approaching 70 miles an hour, the fastest zip line in North America. Where am I?
We're your Gotta Get Away for the Day guide, your Let's Try a New Place to Eat guide, even your Hey, it really happened here guide. We're the tour guide with you in mind. Eye on the Bay.
Whoa! Welcome to day 3 on our trip to Canada. I'm Brian Hackney. We have emerged after 2 days from the wilderness of Lake Louise in Banff, heading toward the metropolitan area of the city of Calgary. You can see it in the distance in the skyline over there. That's about 15 minutes away, but we stopped here first because we're going to begin tonight at the very top of the tower used for the ski jump in the 1988 Olympics. And believe it or not, I'm going to be jumping from that tower myself. We've got a lot to explore before we fly home from our adventure in Alberta. We've got the city of Calgary to explore, the tower, the food, the mechanical bull. Woo! Ha ha! I'm not doing that. Plenty to do in this town, known as the gateway to the Canadian Rockies. But first, I'm going to do something kind of crazy. I'm going to jump off that. We're at Calgary's Olympic Park. Back when they hosted the Olympics here in 1988, this was a ski jump. It's been retired, but it's found a new job as a zip line, taking visitors down a thrilling plummet to the base. Oh, my last moment in television. Let's do it. I'm heading to the top of that tower, and once you are up here, you are more than 350 feet high, and we're going to be going down this, all the way down. And this is JD, my zipline instructor, into whose hands I'm placing my entire life.
Well, there you are, Brian.
What is the peak speed that we're going to be hitting on the way down?
Peak speed for you today, Brian, will be about 75 miles an hour.
75 miles an hour, which makes this the fastest zip line in North America.
It certainly does.
All right, well, here goes nothing.
3, 2, 1.
Whoa! 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 Yes! Braking position! Woo! So! All right, okay, I'm here. Oh my God, that was great! Great! And it's all part of what you can do here at Canada Olympic Park, which I want you to take a look at while I go change my pants. Thank you. In February 1988, the world's attention was focused right here as Calgary hosted the Winter Olympics. The Super G made its Olympic debut, the Jamaican bobsled team made its first appearance on this track, and Jeff Payne, a local Calgarian, sped on a sled in front of a home crowd. As somebody who never was and never will be there,
right,
what does winning feel like?
I tell you, every time I stood on top of the podium, and even just thinking about it now, I'll probably start to cry. It's literally standing on the podium and hearing the national anthem from whatever country you're from. There is no feeling to match it.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Real pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
It began as an outpost for Mounties headed to the mountains, but now Calgary is a full-blown city. 1 million residents, restaurants galore, a huge yearly rodeo called the Stampede. And it's not all country, it's cosmopolitan. Plenty of happening spots, even one with a beer sommelier and a great downtown mall. Now, every major metropolitan city did have a beginning, and this was Calgary's. Stephen Avenue was Main Street a century ago. It's a major promenade now, a collection of the quaint old sandstone buildings that arose after a fire burned down the old wooden Main Street. It's a downtown that has survived a century later as quaint shops, great restaurants, and blowing bubbles. Some of the major buildings are connected by covered walkways like this because of wintertime temperatures that have reached as low as 50 below zero. Good reason to come in the summertime. Architecturally, An impressive city as you look over the skyline. I'm standing in the most prominent feature, though, of Calgary. No, not down there. Up at the very top of the Calgary Tower, 623 feet above downtown. Ears popping. Ears popping. And once you get up here, you notice anything weird about where I'm standing? A glass bottom floor makes your brain go, what are you doing? Really, you step out onto this glass platform, you look straight down more than 600 feet, and your brain thinks that you've lost your mind. Whoa, this is kind of spooky, man. You don't have to stand on the glass floor. You can opt to simply soak in the 360-degree views. When the tower went up around the time of Canada's centennial in 1968, it cost $3.5 million. It costs $35 million today. And they did something that had never been done before to build the central tower. They poured concrete continuously for 24 days. Result? An unusual building, a great ride to the sky, and an opportunity to feel your stomach drop to your feet. Calgary is also home of the Testicle Festival. That's right, I said.
The Testicle Festival.
And these are
Deep-fried cornmeal battered prairie oysters.
otherwise known as.
Testicles.
What is the Testicle Festival?
Well, it's something we do every year during Stampede just for fun. It brings people in, and it kind of started out as sort of a silly joke that the owner started 17 years ago. I think we started doing it. This is our 18th year.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it caught on.
This drew lots of people in.
Yeah.
Fair to say people went nuts?
Nuts. Yeah. But we told them to come by and have a ball.
Are testicles delectable?
They're the awesome edible bovine orb.
I'm skeptical.
Of the testicle?
Of the testicle.
They're delicious if you know how to cook them.
And you do.
And I do.
How do you cook these?
Well, these ones I prepared ahead of time. I blanched them, but you probably don't want to be around during the initial cooking process because it kind of smells like a wet dog trapped in grandma's house. But once we get past that process, they're really good. You have to remove a membrane, and then we cut them into batons, add the batter, fry them, and then we serve them on top of fingerling potatoes with a homemade demi.
If these unlucky people are not going to be able to taste this, what's it like?
The texture is kind of like liver. You know, if you've ever had liver and onions, it's very, very similar to that. Most organs are like that. Testicles
are not the only thing you do.
That's true. We do a lot more. We're much more than just the testicle fest.
Show me, like this.
Well, this is some Alberta raised bison with some of our homemade demi on sweet potatoes and some fresh vegetables. This is one of my favorite items on the menu. This is a double cut pork rib chop on fingerling potato, and we actually smoke this in-house with mesquite and hickory, and then finish it to order. And over here we have I call it the orchard masa with a quinoa pilaf, and it's finished with a pancetta cream sauce. It's a white fish pan-seared with Fiji apple, pancetta, and cream.
Have you eaten one of these?
Oh yeah, I try everything I cook.
I'm not thinking about where it came from.
You gotta try not to.
You know what? Not bad.
It's pretty good, eh? Not something you want to have for dinner every day.
Probably not.
Something you can have for dinner during Stampede.
So come out to Calgary, have a ball. Aaron, thank you so much.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
When our trip to Alberta continues,
Our new recruits this year, I
yes,
believe.
Brian,
I step back in time.
Left, right, left.
Well,
Left.
March.
Left.
And then I meet one of Canada's top chefs. That's next.
welcome back to Eye in the Bay. I'm Brian Hackney. In fact, welcome back to the 19th century in Canada. So Barb, what's the name of this place?
We are at Heritage Park Historical Village, and we are Canada's largest living history museum.
Ah, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Our new recruits this year, I
Yes,
believe.
Brian.
Brian.
Yep.
Sergeant Greg.
Corinne.
Yeah, with you. Very good, Reuben. Nice to meet you.
And a combination amusement park, museum, history lesson.
That's right, there's definitely something here for everybody. You know, you come with the families, and the little kids love to come, and they hit the midway. We have an antique midway here, ice cream shop, candy store, we have a steam train, we have 180 historical exhibits, we have a 75,000 square foot oil and gas memorabilia museum at the front of the park, full of vintage vehicles and gas pumps and signs, and interpretive programs and tours, and the list is endless.
Troop, eyes right. They got it right. Good. I'm glad to see it's the same in America as it is up here in the Northwest Territories.
What are you hoping children will take away from this experience?
What we offer here is a really unique hands-on look at Western Canadian history. You know, when the people came out west here, they came out to nothing, and I think younger generations don't think about that. They have everything, and we're so lucky, and it's a great way to reconnect them to that history and to the hard work.
And left, 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 right, left.
This seems like a quality time.
Yeah.
It really does. Barb, I really appreciate you showing us around. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Excellent. I think we have a fine set of recruits here today. Welcome to the force.
Once again, we have, surprise, surprise, worked up an appetite. And one of the best places to satisfy it is here at Charcut. And you think that America's got top chefs, so does Canada. Connie D'Souza and John Jackson are the co-owners and co-executive chefs of Charcut Roast House in Calgary. But Connie holds one added distinction. How did that feel when the Food Network called and said, guess what, Connie? You're one of Canada's top chefs.
I was over the top excited.
She was one of 16 chefs that participated in the inaugural season of the Food Network's Top Chef Canada. Were you rooting on the sidelines?
Well, I had to keep the lie going the entire time she was gone. It was 6 months after we opened, right? And everyone was like, okay, well, why is Connie gone away for 6 weeks? And, you know.
You had to keep it a secret.
I had to keep it a secret, but it was a lie. So I felt a little, you know, I felt a little bad.
Connie ended up making it to the finals and placed third overall. Fortunately for me, it's time to find out why.
These are our saffron pickled tomatoes, and we pickled them last year. You have to try one of these with the sausage. It's fantastic. The acidity of the tomato just cuts right into the richness of the sausage.
So like do a combo. God, this is what I could never do. Figure out those taste combinations that really work together. The tomato, the sausage. You get hit with this acid splash. It's really good.
When we develop our menu, it only needs to meet one criteria, and that is when you read through it, you want to eat everything. And, you know, we want to, oh my God, I want to eat that, I want to eat that, I want to eat that. And once Connie reads it and she wants to eat everything, I read it and I'm like, man, I want to eat here tonight. We need to eat here tonight. Then we know the menu is done.
And there are a lot of people eating here tonight. In fact, we got to hurry up with our dinner to make room for the next guest. Connie and John, congratulations. Thanks for having us in. Really appreciate it. And our trip to Calgary will continue after a break. You mind if I have more?
Please, yeah.
Coming up, we visit an old railroad station that's now a 4-star hotel. And check out a 99-year-old event that brings in more than 1 million people a year. Yee-haw! Welcome back to Eye on the Bay. I'm Brian Hackney, coming to you from downtown Calgary. Home to 1 million people, great architecture, skyscrapers, the tower, restaurants, and of course, the Stampede. Over 1 million people attend the 10-day Stampede each July. The best rodeo athletes from around the world converge on Calgary during the Stampede for their chance at the biggest one-day prize in pro rodeo. The 100th edition of the greatest outdoor show on earth will take place in 2012. And if you're going to visit Calgary, might as well bunk down someplace nice. Might we humbly suggest the Fairmont Palliser, a great spot right in the middle of downtown.
The Fairmont Palliser is a historic landmark here in Calgary. We opened on June 1st, 1914. In our Rimrock dining room, we have a fabulous historic fireplace that has been there since we opened in 1914. The Fairmont Palliser opened as a hub or a gateway to the Rockies. There were so many guests that were taking the train to the Rockies that we needed to open a hotel here in Calgary.
Lots of that railroad history still exists here at the hotel, the Glass Pavilion. Not only a museum, it's still a functioning station.
It actually is a gateway for trains for the Rocky Mountaineer, which is a train that guests are able to take throughout the Rockies.
Outside again and just a block over from the Fairmont, this imposing sandstone edifice that was a hardware store, is that right,
That's
Suzanne?
right, and now it's home tasting room.
Home tasting
Welcome
room.
home.
Thank you so much.
This building actually was the original hardware store like you had mentioned, and home tasting room is a organic, as much as we can be, sustainable, local ingredients. So our lovely executive chef, Jeff Rogers, takes his mainstream ideas and puts a new twist on them.
Wow. Now this looks different from what strikes me as the typical Calgary fare.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this
absolutely.
very meaty town.
Yeah.
What is this?
So this is the gnocchi. Jeff's got Swiss chard in there, local Swiss chard. He's also got it as a herb gnocchi, so homemade. Everything on site here is homemade. Here I'm having the roasted beet salad. So local again, it's on a bed of arugula, beautiful blue cheese that's coming from Quebec. Cheers.
Okay,
bon appetit.
Cheers. Thanks. Bon appetit.
Enjoy.
We're going to dig in and we're going to continue our visit to Canada, Calgary, after a break as Eye on the Bay's trip to Alberta continues in a minute. As we wrap up our trip to Alberta, we visit a Calgary institution featuring a mechanical appliance that's worth every buck. That's next. Welcome back to Eye on the Bay as we wrap up our trip in the 3 C's, Canada, Calgary, and Cowboys. We've already told you that once every year they have the big Calgary Stampede, but if you don't happen to be here while the Stampede is going on, you can still find a cowboy right here at Ranchman's. Obviously, there's a lot going on here, so to chat with us about it, Austin Rigger, you're the manager of operations here.
Yes, I am.
Ranchman's, what's the idea behind it?
Well, basically, when this bar first opened back in 1972, there was no place in Calgary where you could actually wear a cowboy hat while you're at the bar. You go into a restaurant, you go into a bar, they'd make you take off your hats. Yeah. And the owner, Harris Dvorak, wanted to create a place where the cowboys were welcome and where they were able to wear their hats and have a place that's just really steeped in the Western heritage. You walk around and you see history written on every part of the walls. We've got saddles hanging all over the place, pictures of professional rodeo cowboys everywhere. And you see a saddle, and then next thing you know, that guy's standing right beside you trying to order a drink, and you realize that you're literally shaking hands with a legend. Even tonight, just a regular Thursday old night, and we've got Bo Brooks in here, who's one of the top 10 PBR finalists right now.
What is PBR?
PBR is the professional bull riding. It was actually set up by Tuff Hedeman, one of the guys who set it up. We've actually got his saddle in here.
Bo is a pro.
Bo is a professional bull rider, and he's here tonight.
He could ride the inevitable mechanical appliance that you would find in a Western bar.
You know what? I think he'd be more than willing to ride that tonight for us.
Champion bull rider, Bo Brooks. How long have you been doing this? Since you were like that big?
No, probably about since I was 14 years old.
And you're 20 now?
Yeah.
You've only been doing this for 6 years?
Yes, sir.
You are now a champion?
Yeah.
Is this like doing the real thing at all?
This bucket machine is not, no.
Okay. It's
no.
not.
The first time I was here, I was a little bit younger.
Yeah.
And this thing in this bar actually knocked my teeth out.
Are you serious?
I've never broken a bone or not hit a tooth or nothing ever on an actual bucking bull. And this thing, the first time I got around it, bloodied up all my teeth.
Bo, thank you so much for talking to us. Congratulations on all the success.
Thank you, sir.
He's a champion. I'm not. And that's all the time we have for our visit to Canada. If you want more information about what you've seen over the course of the past 3 days, you know what to do. Log on to our website, cbssf.com/Eye in the Bay. And we hope over the course of the show we've given you some ideas to why the national anthem of this country is "Oh, Canada." From the gateway to the Rockies in Calgary, in Alberta, I'm Brian Hackney. See you back home. Thanks for watching.
This edition of Eye on the Bay was sponsored by Travel Alberta. Additional video provided by Travel Alberta.